Alright, so the ATF is suing a machine gun. Now, I was confused about this at first. So I had to call around. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? Why is the ATF suing a machine gun? Like, are they acknowledging my gender as a submachine gun? Like, can I now start writing that on my 4473 gender submachine gun? Like, is that what's going on here? Turns out it's a little bit darker than that. There is something called a civil asset forfeiture. We actually got to back up and put some context on this so you understand what the hell's going on. So, what I need you to do is take a gander at this bad boy. This is your high alert patch. What this will do is you'll see a yellow flashing in the corner of your vision if there's danger looking in your general direction or close by from that direction. And if it's really like extreme danger, it'll actually put a box around what's dangerous, a yellow square, so you can identify it really easy. Let me do a demonstration. Oh, can I touch your leg hair? So when I found out about the ATF suing the Sten gun, the Sten Mark II, I was really confused. Again, I thought this was them just acknowledging my gender. But no, there's something called a civil asset forfeiture. So on this particular case, the story goes a little something like this. In South Carolina, this woman finds a Sten gun after her husband dies. Her friends lose their hypothetical shit and start freaking out and say, hey, that's a machine gun, you're looking at 10 years in a federal pound in the ass prison. So she takes it down to a gun shop called Good Finds LLC. It's an FFL out of South Carolina. They're like, yes, ma'am. Put on their Batman costume real quick. That is a machine gun. We are here to save you. So they take it from her, and what they do is they call the ATF. The ATF comes and gets it, and they take it away. Well, you would think this is where the story ends, right? Well, the lady either looked up and found out what it's worth, and that it's a piece of history worth thousands of dollars. I think like 17 grand is currently what the selling price on one of those is. Anyway, she starts disputing the claim, saying either that it isn't a machine gun or whatever. So instead of the ATF putting a case like, hey, this is how we know it's a machine gun, we can prove it's a machine gun, I'm guessing they're on rocky grounds because either she could get approved for a tax stamp for it. I don't know. I haven't heard of this being done, but somebody said it is in fact possible, especially in her circumstance. Or it wasn't a machine gun and they just want to keep it. So instead of, going to her and being like, hey, this is our evidence, Your Honor, this is a machine gun. We're confiscating it from the lady because it wasn't registered in 1986 on the amnesty. And this is the reasons why we can't add it to the registry, blah, 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 blah. That's a case they could lose. So what they do is they sue the gun directly because the gun can't go on the stand and make a case for itself. And they do it civilly. So that's where the whole civil asset forfeiture comes in. So say, for example, you're going to the car dealer and you got 20 grand on you and they seize it from you saying it's drug money and then they can't prove that it's drug money. What they'll do is they'll sue the money because the money can't defend itself. And basically, if you want to fight for that, it's going to cost you more in lawyers to actually get the money back. So typically what they'll do is they'll be like, well, how about we keep 50% and you just let all this go? And that's typically how this sort of thing is handled. Now, for example, they're even trying to strong-arm the lady, and if you look in the court documents, they're even like, they're not straight out threatening her, but they're saying it in a way that if she were to read the court documents, which she will, obviously, that she may be liable to criminal charges for being in possession of a machine gun. Will that happen? No, but the point is the threat's put out there. They want to keep this gun. So, because they're using civil asset forfeiture, it's probably not a machine gun. Maybe it's an open bolt or something like that. For whatever reason, they're not just going to the judge and being like, hey, this is in fact a machine gun. She can't keep it. Or maybe it is, and she's eligible for a tax stamp, but they don't want to give her a tax stamp, so they're doing the civil asset forfeiture. Which wraps around, you're probably like, well, hey, what about the dude from Florida? What's going to happen with his stuff? Are they going to just civil asset forfeiture him? No, I think after we're victorious in court, which I have no doubt we will be. I mean, don't get me wrong, juries are a wild card. You never know what's going to happen with them. But let's be real here. They don't have a case. So after we're successful in court, I don't think he's going to suffer the same fate just because in the discovery alone is more than enough to clear our name. And because the prosecutor's aware of this, there should be no reason why we can't sue for damages for malicious prosecution because she made her own case. We wouldn't even have to say anything in court. We just hand them the discovery and be like, yeah, read the highlighted parts. She knew we were innocent and she decided to prosecute anyway. Malicious prosecution. This is what we want for damages. So I believe because of how strong our case will be for malicious prosecution, they won't try that with him, but it is always possible. So maybe he gets damages, but then they keep everything else. I don't know. Only the future will tell. We'll find out shortly. Now, another thing I want to touch on before I end this video is gun laws are racist. Now, I know there was a whole pile of people that were like, hey, you know, that's so cringe when you talk about that. I checked out of the video when you talked about that. You have to. The Bruen decision said you have to go back to the time of the founding of the Second Amendment and look at the text, history, and tradition. So what is the text, history, and tradition with any sort of gun laws that existed at that point? There were a certain group of people that were considered second-class citizens, and the whole point was to keep guns out of their hands. Racist. And it's starting to catch on because people are forced to go back and look. Why were gun laws made? Because they were racist. So, yeah, I get it. You know, it is cringe and, you know, whatever. Not really my place to talk about it because, well, I clearly don't fit into that category. But I'd like to feel like I played even just a small part in educating people on the history of gun laws and help bringing down the whole gun law tower. Because we've won. We really have. They just don't know it yet. It's just taking time to unwind all the damage that's been done over the years. Ultimately, I think we will be victorious, and the Second Amendment will be applied as written. Shall not be infringed. Because remember, this isn't a document from the government to the people telling the people what they can or can't have. This is a document from the people to the government telling them what laws they're allowed to make around the right to bear arms. Shall not be infringed. It's plain and simple. 0 gun laws. 0, 0, 0. And don't forget there is absolutely no crime you can commit with a firearm that's not already a crime. There's no reason to have specific gun crimes. Whether you shoot somebody, murder. You steal a gun, theft. It doesn't matter. There's no crime you can commit solely with a firearm that's not already on the books in some other way, shape, or form. So what is a gun law? Just a way to wrap Americans in red tape and trip them up if need be. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to go to my ShopOnlyTacticalFans.com store where you can purchase this High Alert patch. I also have a Hardline patch, and I still have a few, not many, but a few Shop Only Tactical Fans logos left. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.